All right, what's up, guys? We are officially live. This is Rockstar Partnership Live. I'm your host, Phil, Fired Up Phil, and I have a special guest on today. I hope you are ready. Like Terrell Owens said, get your popcorn ready. We're going to have some fun tonight. I'm here with a baller, my buddy. We can do the baller sign, right? We got him in the house. He's a friend of mine. We're kind of boys through boys, right, Dickie? Like we became friends because we have mutual circle of friends. And then we connected and clicked. So it's always nice to have a friend on, right? That doesn't always happen and stuff. And we were kind of talking about doing this for a while. So I have Dickie Baxter on. Let me give some stats for those of you who don't know Dickie. We always got to run through the stat card really quick. Dickie is responsible for like 100 solo transactions. Your team did over 200, right? I believe 70 million in production. Your team did over. You've got a podcast. You've got a book coming out, right? And now we connect because we are tattooed realtors.
That's
you just
right.
told me you have a tattoo shop that you're opening up. That's dope.
Yes. It's coming soon. Still working with the location and everything, but we're very excited about that. Look for that in the future. More announcements.
Awesome. You cannot be busy enough, right? That's kind of the deal. You just keep going and doing your thing, and it's fun. It's a lifestyle that you enjoy. The entrepreneurial walk, the entrepreneur's lifestyle is something that you embrace. And that it becomes like, part of you. And I think that's so cool. That's why we connect whenever we, get together to chop it up a little bit. We always connect because we have the same mindset and we're driven like that. So I always enjoy those conversations and stuff with you. So I'm super stoked to have you on Rockstar Partnership Live. We're going to have some fun, drop some bombs, and hopefully give people some great content to help them out. The purpose of this show is to help realtors scale and build freedom. And we're going to try to do that for you today. So I'm going to ask, let's start with some questions here. What have you learned? This is something that I like to ask people because I always think about this too. Have you learned more like from your successes or your failures, would you say?
That's a great question. Thank you for leading off with that one.
Yeah.
I would say I'm grateful for both. And I think I'm fortunate for the success that I've had, and that's a result of my sphere and my mentors. But my failures have made me work harder. Okay. And I think your failures are really what make you appreciate when you have to get back up. Yeah. And Rocky wasn't the best. I steal this from my partner Vincent Rita. Rocky wasn't the best boxer, but you couldn't keep him down.
Yeah. He had the most heart.
Yeah. So as much as my failures wanted me to stay down, or the naysayers or the haters want to keep you down, I can't thank them all enough. And I love the scars from those wounds.
Yeah.
Are a lot like tattoos. They tell the story. They tell a lot about who you are and where you've been. And I love it. I'm grateful for it. One of my tattoos says, "Build your castle with bricks, no longer with sand."
Oh, nice.
And nice. that's a lyric that Wyclef Jean wrote for Eric Clapton, and they performed it together at Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
And it's been my mantra with me and my wife for years. We only bought each other bricks. We didn't have much money, but we would buy bricks and we would decorate them for different occasions for the kids and stuff. And we'd put them on the mantle and it would talk about something that we did.
Wow.
And that's what we're making our foundation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
A lot to do with those fails,
That's awesome. Planting those seeds, right? And it's when I think of that, I like what you said there. I think like in order to really we're motivated by pain and pleasure, right? So without failure, like if you don't have pain in your life, if you haven't failed or whatever, like how are you really motivated? I think when I look at my life, I think that the failure and that pain within it, especially when you have that entrepreneurial spirit and that will to, want to win and to succeed, you got that competitive spirit, right? Those failures are what drive you. And you learn a lot in them because it makes you evaluate and self-assess and be like, hey, what the hell did I do wrong here? You know what I mean? Where I just because I fucking bombed on some businesses and stuff and but hey, I would rather, what was it, Jordan that said I'd rather shoot however many shots, and miss because, if the shot that you don't take, right, that's why I win, because I keep taking shots. And so I love that. And I love failure. I embrace failure. So
And
that's cool.
and Jordan was the perfect example with that. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't scared. And now a lot of his proteges, like even Kobe Bryant, they weren't scared to ever get out on that court and do it. And that's where they're some of the greats. You know, they're the ones that were the best at doing it. But they didn't learn that from the rings. They learned that from the losses. That's why Kobe would get up even earlier. There's a story about Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan where he had his shoes on and they're playing against each other. And Jordan said to Kobe, you can wear the shoes, but you'll never fill them.
Oh.
And so then all of Kobe's teammates, they were playing against each other in a game. And then all of Kobe's teammates were like, what's going on? What's going on? And Phil Jackson comes up, who coached Jordan, you know, and goes, he goes, I know. He's like, I don't even have to know what he said, but he got in his head. He's like, that's what Jordan does, man. And it never stopped Kobe from being who he is, you know?
No, it probably, if he's a driver or red personality, which he is, it just motivated him more. Because the minute you tell somebody who's a driver personality, like what they can't do, oh, forget it. It's on. That's actually like the best thing you can do to motivate somebody who's ambitious. Is tell them they can't do it. Because then they're going to get more fired up and be like, what do you mean I can't fill these shoes?
Right. And you know, Kobe wanted a better sneaker deal after that, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, that stuff parallels, right? I mean, we're talking about success. Everything that we're talking about here that we're going to get into parallels with helping agents become more successful, because everything, it starts in your mind, right? Like it always does. Nothing equivalates nothing. The equivalent of the product that you're trying to create always starts in the mind, and then it manifests, right? If you don't have the right mindset, if you're not prepared to do the things we're going to get into and start talking about, like it's never going to happen. So to have that, understanding first is something I think that a lot of people need to just think about, because sometimes we fail in our minds first. We don't realize it. And it's like, hey, look, man, it's your mindset that's holding you back. You're capable, you're talented enough, but it's the mindset. And so that's what failures, I think definitely help too. They help you get grounded and be able to feel the pain and embrace the pain and learn from the pain and then come back stronger. Right. You got a new book coming out at some point here. And it's interesting. And I'm bringing this up because I actually have a book coming out too.
Oh, cool.
It was supposed to, but it was supposed to come out in 2019. It was supposed to come out in 2020, 2021. And then, so I'm like, oh, all right. So now I'm saying this to you because I'm going to hold myself accountable to get my book out by the end of this year. But let's talk about your book. I'm not here to talk about my failure.
So this started about a year ago.
Okay.
A friend and client of mine, he has books and he gave me his book to read. And that's where I failed a lot. I didn't read a lot of books, and Keller Williams actually turned me a different way into reading, because Gary, they always give you the book, and
pushing the personal growth.
Yeah. And so I just was so ignorant to learning that side of business in general, not just real estate.
Okay.
And my friend gave me his book, and he's my friend. So of course I was interested, and he's in chiropractic care. And I was reading his book, was nothing about that. I learned so much about this guy.
That's awesome.
Who I love so much. So I get reading the book, and he was like, I want you to have a book. Okay. And I was like, bro, I can't.
He planted the seed.
Yeah. I was like, bro, I can't do that. I don't write books. I was like, I barely read them. And I wasn't very good in school. I'm a hustler,
Yeah.
He's like, exactly. That's the story we're going to tell. And
nice.
I had a lot of fun doing this, but anybody that wants to have a book, and it's a lot of work.
It is. It's
a lot of redundant work. And since we're on this forum, I want to say thank you. My friend Judd, Dr. Negrady, he really put in so much time in this. We're at the last step of what we have to do. We're just getting the pictures laid out. And I've been doing a lot of throwbacks on my social media because I'm finding all these old pictures. My family's been giving me pictures and stuff.
I got pictures you. You're going to pop them in the book.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of, I had a picture the other day up of me and He-Man from Playtogs, bro. Like it's been such throwbacks,
Yeah.
But the book process is so much fun to relive some of these stories. And when you talk about, like we said earlier, about going back to the mistakes, like I was reliving parts of my childhood and parts of learning to be a hustler and to be a business person.
Okay.
that it just energized me. Like it's gotten me so much more pumped up and so much more geared to work with our team.
Awesome, man. I love it. And so let's talk about that for a minute. The hustle, the hungry. Like obviously, in order to smash down 100 transactions and to be a baller and do what you're doing, you got to be hungry, right? So tell me about that. Like, what is it that like keeps you hungry? What makes you hungry? What drives you? How do you stay? Help people understand how you stay motivated, how you keep the hustle going, how you keep work. You just told me before we jumped on here that you were working till like 10:30 at night. And I said, I'm here drinking a beer and I'm ready to go. I'm going to work when we get done with this too. But you're a hustler. So help everybody understand, like, what is it? Like, give them some nuggets that helps with that.
Well, so we've always been taught, a lot of us have been taught, I shouldn't say we even always, but a lot of us are taught, like, go to the 13th grade or, get that safe union job and all these things. And we're starting to see, like with the pandemic, for example, who was essential.
Yeah.
And where the safety really was, right?
Yeah.
The hustlers really did it during the pandemic and they showed their value. And actually, as inflation is being affected, business really isn't, as much as they thought it was going to. Right. I like having a career where they don't put a roof on my potential. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
My father was an investigator for the sheriff's department. Great job. And I was going to school. I thought it was the greatest job ever. I looked up to him and I liked that he got the bad guy. And he had some really cool coworkers and stuff that I thought were awesome. So I was going to go that route. I realized early on to going to school for that and doing the ride along, as much as I loved the people that were doing it, I didn't like that every day my dad had to carry a gun to work and that he was in danger and somebody told him how much he was worth per hour.
Okay.
There was no other potential to that.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're kind of saying is one of the things that really drives you and motivates you to continue hustling and work hard is that there's no real cap on the potential, right? So like,
absolutely,
that if you put the work in, that you're gonna get it reciprocated, right? It's gonna produce more fruit. Like there's no ceiling on the amount of income that you can earn because we can keep growing, we can keep building a bigger team, do a bigger, right? So that's one of the things that motivates you. And luckily we're here talking about to real estate agents because they have the same opportunity. So everybody on here listening can't use any type of a ceiling, right? That holds them back. So
a lot of agents do. A lot of agents that have been in the business too long, that aren't trying to better themselves, they do the same things. They put themselves in a box. I can't tell you how many agents come to me like, how did you do 40 million plus in Orange County, New York this year?
Yeah.
How did you do? I've done 100 plus transactions for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Every year consistently. And like, how do you keep doing it? Like, there were so many rumors that I just had a lot of friends or that had this or that I do a lot of lead generation through Zillow. I have never paid Zillow a dime.
Okay.
Not saying that Zillow is a bad company. Yeah. I'm just saying that
you didn't
I've never paid for leads like that.
Yeah.
We do it organically, but you and I are the ones right now still on a podcast, on a social media forum, utilizing this tool to get in front of our audience and get in front of people. The first thing I did is people saw me looking down. I was sharing this to my sphere because I'm responsible to get out there and market. Absolutely. And there's so many people now that are making excuses in our business and saying, oh, well, I don't do internet or I don't do that or I don't do. Well, if you don't, you're in the La Brea tar pits of real estate and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You will be extinct in 2 years.
Because that's something, first, like we'll get off of the hungry. And I love where you just went with that. Like, so everybody, no matter who you are, it's obviously, especially in the real estate industry, we got to be hungry, right? You got to hate losing. Like, don't you hate losing, bro? Like when you don't you got to be like fucking Tom Brady, like throw a like get mad. Like when you lose, it has to bother you, right?
You have to grow from it. You can't make excuses.
Yes. And so now we're going to go, well, actually, before we get to the social media stuff, because I want to go there, but I listened to your podcast, the one that you sent me, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of in the same, it just made me think, because it's on the same line here. You said hungry versus thirsty, right? So talk to us, like, what's the difference, the hungry and the thirsty?
I think my team leader, Kevin, said it best from Keller Williams First New York when he had said, like, thirst, when people, because the topic on the podcast, I have a podcast on iHeart called Unleashed, and my partner, Kevin, we asked the question, what's the difference of being thirsty and being hungry? And the thirst is like survival.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just like
Okay.
it's not to be better. That hunger
Content.
is a grind.
Yeah.
It's not just to survive and to suck something dry. You know, whereas
Yeah.
that hunger is going to replenish.
Gotcha.
And people that are hungry for that are always going to find their way of doing that and make that better and better and better to provide. And in my element, I have to not only provide for myself and my family, I'm the rainmaker for my team.
Yes.
And I have to make sure that I provide that lead generation, or provide that knowledge or that training or whatever, you know, in that work environment. And then Keller Williams, you know, for me, or EXP for you, they provide what we need as well to get out there for us as well, and for our brand.
Yeah. And you said it. I remember the first time I became an entrepreneur, and I cut my teeth in traditional business, and I had employees, right, that I brought on when I was like 20. And I remember being in my 20s and like the market crashed and I got punched right in the face, man. Like not literally, but figuratively, like basically literally. And I had all these employees, and I literally had a grown man crying to me, like, and I'm like, I don't want to let you go, dude. Like, there's no work, And it was like the most devastating, one of the most devastating things I've ever been through, to watch that happen. And so that feeds the motivation, that feeds the hustle, that feeds the hunger, knowing, like you said, you've got a team that's relying on you. You've got a family that's relying on you. And then as you develop yourself, and as we develop ourselves, and as anybody listening develops themselves as a leader, like those are the things. Like, it's noble to provide for yourself, but it's more noble to provide for your family. And then it's even more noble to start providing for other people, to help them, right, grow and succeed, and to be able to provide things where that they can, have an opportunity to be more successful. So I think what you're saying there is so cool, because that is really motivating when people start relying on you, right? And it's like, hey, I got to respond, I got to produce and help these other people. And it becomes something that drives you.
It's for me. So my first business, I used to build custom cars.
Okay.
And I had a business called People Hooking Up Cars. And it's one of the chapters in the book. And I was 19 when I started that. But I not only do we build custom cars, we used to tour the country with the cars, and we used to go to SEMA and all stuff. But then we had a store, and in that store, I sold speakers to people who already had speakers. So that was an impulse buy. That's how I was still feeding my family, and it was a recession.
Okay.
It was 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, like the world, in 2001, the world went crazy, so, and I did that for 11, 12 years. And through all that, like, one of the things I learned was you had to build that trust with your client. It wasn't about sales. It's what helped propel me in real estate, because I never looked at it as a sale. Here we're a liaison in a transaction. We're not selling anything.
Right.
If somebody comes to us for real estate, they know what they want.
Yeah.
We don't really, it's not to the old days of me selling somebody a remote starter when they got told they lost their job, or that I had people with bald tires getting remote starters in their car. I'm going, you really need tires. Like, I don't sell tires.
I don't want tires. I want a system.
They're like, no, we want speakers. And so I'm like, okay, cool, good. That's going to help.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so that's a thing.
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's just been a real thing. Like, for us, that's been that for me and my experience with doing business that way, coming into where I was such a necessity, and you were such an important part and a vital part of somebody's most expensive decision that we're going to make on average of 7 years, or an investment, or working with people like yourself that are builders. You know what I mean? It was such a privilege to do this job, that it's almost an empowerment when you hold yourself to the liability, not just to my team, like I was saying, to my family, but also to the trust of your clients.
Yeah,
there's just nothing better. There's nothing better than that. You've done it before. You've helped somebody buy their first home. And one of my favorite deals to do in real estate is helping somebody find their last home.
Okay.
When you help somebody sell the house they've made all their memories in for their kids, their grandkids, and then they've told you, like, this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my days. There's no bigger trust.
Yeah. And it's really cool, because there's a lot of attachment, obviously, to that house, and it becomes a very emotional thing for a person to, obviously sell something that they they raise their family in and all that stuff. So you become attached to the client, right? And so that they become a friend. They become, we don't have clients, right? We have friends. We make friends in this business at the end of the day.
And partners.
And partners.
A lot of our investors become partners in what we do because if they don't make money, we don't make money. There's just so much going on and so many moving parts to what we do.
Yeah, totally. Let's drop some nuggets now for the realtors out there. They're probably like, yo, all right, we love you guys, but help us scale. What can we do here? Let's talk about what you said before. Let's talk about branding a little bit and social media and what some people can do to to be able to build their business. You had mentioned earlier that you didn't really have like a giant ad spend. You didn't really buy Zillow leads. So you've been a big promoter through social and obviously networking, person to person and stuff like that. Help some of the people out there, like if they want to increase their business this year, if they want to get more business to be able to do more transactions, what are some of the things, the tips that you would be able to give them to, create, whether they're buyer leads, whether they're listings, in the way that you go about it, and what can they do?
I'll give you, I have actually one of my partners and teammates, Laura Finizzi's on right now, the Finizzler. And she knows that I tell this story a lot. When I first got into business, I would pay $3,000 a month to be in the phone book. And all my ads said it was remote starters. It was one thing I sold.
Okay.
$36,000 a month. You know how many remote starters I have to sell to make $36,000 in 1998?
Wow.
But that's how you could motivate people. No smartphones, no internet, no nothing, right?
Yep.
How much do we pay for social media? It's free.
Organically nothing. Yeah.
It's free. You could be in front of everyone taking a crap.
Yes.
You could be in front of everyone waiting for the doctor. Everyone everywhere on their smartphones just by opening up your professional page and creating an algorithm. And to the agents out there that don't want to do that, pay a marketing company. Do something.
And even on that note, we teach, especially like newer agents or people that come in, like, hey, you got to do an audit on your page, right? Like take a look at your Facebook page and go through it and audit your page. Like if I go to your page and I don't know that you sell real estate, well, there's a problem, right? That's a big problem. Why do I not know that you're a real estate agent? I should know that right away. And then, in the audit process in the beginning, like you probably, we're gonna get into be you in a minute, but you got to be a little bit careful being you.
You got to be politically correct.
Yeah. Like, so
you don't miss that $2 million listing because you're keeping it real.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Let's go there for a second because you've branded yourself using the tattooed realtor and stuff, right? I have tattoos. I'm a big believer in being yourself. So when I say, don't be you, I don't really mean don't be you. I mean be you, but you probably want to be a little bit careful with some posts if you're doing some stuff that is a little bit. That's what I mean by that. But what I don't mean is to not be yourself. Like people say that if you know me, you know that I love Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. You know that I'm wearing a Metallica shirt. I like to curse sometimes.
But you don't have master puppets playing in the background right now.
No, I don't.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
You
That's
might
totally
have Unforgiven
fair.
blow in the background, but you don't have master puppets playing right now.
No, you're 100% right. You gotta know. I'm sorry, I thought I put that on silent. So you have to know, right, where to kind of draw the line with certain things. But what it does, like with being yourself, is that people that like you are going to want to do business with you. And then there's some people that are not going to really be feeling you, and that's okay. Most people want to try to please everybody and be a commodity, but you don't make any money as a commodity. You make money being likable to a niche, right? So some people are going to look at Dickie and be like, I don't like this guy, tattooed realtor, whatever, like hustler. He's G in it. Like what, right? Like that's okay. That's cool because there's a whole nother market that does love you, right? And so that's just the same thing. Like I'm me. And there's going to be people that love me, and I'm going to lock arms with those people, and I'm going to go to battle with those people. And like, hey man, like you're my people, right? And then those people that don't, that's okay. I don't hate on anybody, right? I'll see you on the field, right?
I've done a lot I've done soul searching both ways with that,
Yeah.
because I do try and keep things as a persona. Early on, I realized that I may, but younger me, out of the
Yeah.
bar with my buddies, have a couple pops, whatever, say something funny, say a funny joke, and maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, but it's just me and my guys, right?
Yep.
But I never thought that if I'm doing that and two people down from the bar is my kid's nursery school teacher, and that was
Yep.
before I started thinking about it as business.
Yep.
I learned that early on as a parent. I had to start thinking for somebody other than myself. As I started having employees and I've owned a few businesses, right? And as I started having partners, and as I started, my wife was in business and
Yeah.
she was running non-for-profits and stuff. It became bigger than me. And as my parents were my supporters and they were out there referring me, and then I got this big client base and they were referring me, it became bigger than me. And while I'm genuine and organic, I evolved.
Right.
One of the coolest
Sure.
pieces of advice about the best thing I ever did was become a dad.
Yeah.
It's just the most magical thing, and I love it. And then another one of my favorite tattoos says "All for my goons," and we're the
Yeah.
goon squad, right? So that's
Yeah.
who I do it for.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of advice I give anybody that's ever having a kid, I say, becoming a parent doesn't change who you are, but it changes what you want. And so you want those different things. So
Yes.
I agree with you that we keep it real because that's who we are.
In a branding aspect, right? That's what
Yes.
we're talking about. I'm not saying I agree with you 100%
Yeah.
in a branding aspect. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be you, right? But continue with what you were saying.
But I also have been the one, you ask any of my team, I always make fun of the agent with the blue blazer and the gold buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
I will always beat that agent. I will always, always, always be. I may not always get every listing because not every client's going to want to work with me.
Yeah.
But my numbers and my statistics and my market share will always be better than agent because they're obsolete. I didn't want their client anyway.
Yeah. And right, you branded yourself, and you're obviously working hard and everything, and your numbers speak for themselves. And that dude that's wearing that, he's got a niche, he's got a market. Some people like exactly
He or she. He or she.
Yeah, he or she, right.
Because and I have friends that are that agent and crush it. I'll give you an example, and I don't think she'll mind that I'm saying her name on this, but Virginia Corbett and I have a very different approach to real estate.
Yep.
I love and respect her. I think she's fantastic. I think she's extremely relevant. I think she's a great team leader. I think she does great for her brand. She works at a completely different brand, but we have a mutual respect. Frank McCarry and I, again, other companies, great mutual respect. He runs a team, and like no love lost there. We just have such a way different approach to how we, like Frank and I run teams different. Virginia and I have a different approach to how we present ourselves.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them less relevant because they're as committed.
Right.
You and I are very similar in our approach, but we have way different business plans.
Right. So where do we bring this back to the agent right now watching, as far as it goes for your business, for your branding, for who you are? It's okay to do things a little bit differently. Obviously you want to keep tabs on, not crossing a bad line, but it's good to brand and to kind of carve out and figure out who your avatar, who your perfect client is, because that is the person that you're really trying to attract. Now, if you want to be the commodity, I just don't think that you do as well. I think you have to have that, like you said, Virginia does things differently, right? I don't know Virginia as well. I mean, I know probably Frank a little better than that, but like everybody has their style, their way of doing things. And that's awesome. And they're very successful doing it. And every agent watching right now, think about a little bit about how do people perceive you? Like, what is the perception of you? Look at your Facebook page and your Instagram and stuff like that and kind of see. Like, I do it to myself. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I need to change some things, whatever. And I'll start, working on my branding. But like for the people watching, they can kind of do an evaluation of themselves and kind of see where they stack up right now or where they want to kind of brand themselves. Maybe some people will be a little bit liberated, hearing this and watching that. And then, maybe others will, kind of just, find their niche and see where they belong within the marketplace. So you have
I
any
think
thoughts to add to that?
I think just when people are keeping it real in this business, then you have to keep it all the way real.
Yeah.
Build your own business plan, build your own business model. Don't emulate somebody else's success
No, be
if you're
you.
looking to be that next top producer.
Yeah.
It's
And let's
different than
not,
when you're just trying to exist and learn in this business. But as you're building a brand, like I love what it's a privilege to be here because I love this real estate Rockstar partnership that you're doing. Everything. Like I think it's dope, and and it
thank
has
you.
nothing. You get to exist in that brand. It doesn't
Yep.
get in my way. It doesn't make me jealous. It makes me happy, and it makes and when I do the tattooed realtor stuff, and when we're doing the license to sell brand and stuff, you and I will easily, if we see each other do something cool, send each other a message saying, "Yo, bro, that was dope," or "Hey,
Yeah.
man, good luck with the toy drive," or "Hey," as we're
Yep.
doing those things, and never bump into each other. But also, I would never copy your brand. You know, I would never take if I saw something that was cool. Like we were just talking before we got on here about how we both like using StreamYard, but I made a couple recommendations of stuff I've used. I just want you to do better.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be copying it. It's steps forward. But
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that a lot of agents, because all you'll do is water down your own brand. So the agents out there watching, like, be genuinely yourself because you'll get called out. And if you think the person copying saw it, the public is not dumb. It's completely transparent.
Yeah, when you're yourself and you're transparent, it's evident. And let me say something on that. No matter what you do, competence is essential, right? So understanding, one of the biggest things, I think, you become very comfortable in your own skin when you're competent, and when you put the work in, and you understand the market, you feel you're confident in what you can provide and what you can do for clients, right? When you're doing that, when you're putting the work in, and you know that what you have to offer is, top notch, like, you can serve the clients well, then you can be you, and it's cool. If if you haven't put the work in, and you haven't, established that level of confidence and understanding of, different markets and all the different things that, obviously you should have a better grasp on in the real estate industry and being an agent, then it's going to be harder to be you because you're just not confident, right?
No, I agree. I want to give a shout out to Reby Aviles, one of our partners, and Katie Newhall, my assistant, is watching. So I just want to say hello to them.
Thank you guys.
I think one of the things when you talk, I don't know, you know who Jadakiss is, right? From the Locks. One of his best lyrics, he said, "I'm not cocky, I'm confident." And to all my haters to have a problem, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool because I get labeled cocky a lot, and I'll take it. I'll take the shot, but I am very confident in what I deliver. But I've worked very hard for that. I'm not gonna take that on the chin. Like I work for everything I got,
Bro, on that note, like and this is actually, in my opinion, as a marketer, that's good, because until you have some haters, you don't even exist. You're not doing a good job. There should be people who don't like you. There should be a group of people that don't like you. It goes to what we were saying before. Like, you're going to have people who love you. You're going to have people who hate you. If you're the commodity in the middle, that's just, you're kind of lukewarm. You're living lukewarm. And so you should be you. And, to your credit, you're not cocky. You're confident. You have a swag about you because of the confidence. You are who you are. And I respect that. And that's why you're successful, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
And it's reciprocated. The same respect is reciprocated. And I think that's for people out there watching and wondering, what their next step is or what their next level is. Just have a good measure of that, because I've had a couple mentors in my life that have been like, "Dickie, you weren't being confident there. You were being a jerk." And I've had to dial it back. I've definitely had both deliveries. I've had to take my strides. My previous broker helped me with some of that. With the new brand, and with working with my partner, Vinny, is the best, man.
I love Vinny. What's up, Vinny?
He's the
Vinny,
best.
I'm going to have you on here. Don't worry. You're coming on here soon, too.
He is not only relentless, and because he's the Relentless Realtor. That's his title.
Oh, that's his tag name?
He's the NY Relentless Realtor. That's why you see NYRR on all stuff. He's the NY Relentless Realtor.
Does he got the relentlessrealtor.com?
He owns it. He owns his name. He
Okay,
owns his
because I was
brand.
gonna go buy it and sell it to him at a premium.
No, if you go on Instagram, everything, he's got it.
Okay.
And you know what's crazy is like people don't realize in order for us to run this partnership for license to sell, he's the one. He's my real handler. Like him and Kevin too. We have to like dial me in a lot and be like, okay, bud, today
Yeah.
you're gonna slow it down a little bit. And but it's been cool. But to the agents out there that are watching and wondering, like, don't be afraid to test those waters. And to the people that don't have substance behind when they're trying to slow you down, ask yourself, evaluate the criticisms because they just can't do what you do.
Okay.
A lot of the times.
Nice. Let me say this. Two things in closing here I got for you. One listen, I know every realtor watching always, like I said before, wants to know about, more how to get more leads. So we're going to go into that in 1 second. Don't make me try to reach through and put you in a virtual arm bar to make you spit out some good juice for them. But on what you just said with Vinny, give me your thoughts on this, because when you ended up linking up with Vinny, when you have that other person, right, that's working with you and stuff, and then you started bringing more people around you, because I'm a big believer in iron sharpens iron, like the Bible says, when you surround yourself with the right people, you sharpen one another, you challenge one another. It's so important. What did that do for you? Like, bringing more people around you, especially obviously Vinny, creating a partnership and stuff. And like, did that help you immensely with what you're doing now?
It's a loaded question. It's not a short answer.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this. I was told early in business by a friend of mine that a partnership can be a sinking ship. And most of my businesses have been partnerships. The key to the success with that is owning your title, owning your responsibility, but never bringing a scale or a tape measure to work. Because there's days you'll be there longer, those days you'll work harder, and then there's days you'll make less money. It's okay. That's what you signed up for. It doesn't make your partner any less your partner. It doesn't make them have less response. There'll be days that they have it too. And so you can't ever do that. Don't ask yourself how many times that person got hit in the fight and how many times you got hit in the fight.
Right.
You're in the fight together. And that'll help you get past your woes. But as far as being more successful, what I tell our team and what Vinny tells our team, when they ask, like, how are you crushing all these deals? And when everybody asks me I don't know, because when I got here today, the parking lot was empty. If you want to be better than me, get here before me. And if you want to be better than me, leave after me. There's no secret sauce to business in general. But if you're not running it like a business, that's your first fail. And your second fail is it's going to be really hard. The opportunity in real estate is absolutely endless. And guess what? It pays awesome. Yeah. I make rapper money and I don't have any albums out there. You know what I mean?
Like, we just did an episode. We just did one of the lives, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, about how awesome the opportunity in real estate is. And the fact that you have low startup costs, you can come into this business without breaking the bank and everything, and you can make a lot of money and then start obviously putting money back into it to grow it to whatever else. You can grow it to an 8-figure business if you want. And
there's so many streams of income.
Yeah.
So many streams of income.
So many streams of income. So for the people in closing here, let's give them a couple nuggets. So you're very good with the social, the postings and stuff. Help the agents that are watching right now. What are some tricks or something like that you can? What do you do when you post? What do you like to do? It's the consistency, right? So in marketing, it's always about consistency. You're either consistent or you're non-existent. So some people like to just post like a couple times, right? And then they're like, well, I didn't get any leads. Yeah, come on, like, you didn't try that hard, So it comes back to that. But give us some of your thoughts, and give us some like things that some people can try to implement in their business like tomorrow or whatever to help them with some of the social, because I know you're doing it and I know you're pretty good at it. So help them out.
Do more video. Ask why you're on every platform. Ask why you're on Instagram, all that stuff. But be consistent. Absolutely. That's the biggest one.
The biggest one, consistency. And that's probably the biggest, that's the biggest hang up for people, I think, is not being consistent enough. They're consistent for a little bit, right? And then, then you fall off. And I was just talking to one of our team members and about branding and about this. And it's like, when you're posting, when you're trying to build and grow on social media, you've got an audience, right? So however many friends you have, whatever it may be, right? That's your audience, that's your platform. And when you're marketing to them on social media, every post that you do that brands inside their mind that you're a realtor, right? That keeps that's what you're doing, is you're branding inside their mind that you are a realtor. If you only do it 3 times, they have other realtors in their feed. And so the other realtors who are being consistent are going to be branded in their minds, and they're going to start to look to them. Dickie does a great job, very consistent. So everyone on his feed sees his face all the time and knows that he's a realtor, and knows that he takes pride in what he does, and knows that he loves what he does. So
you have to study the algorithms with that too, though. You can't just post. You'll lose people too. So you have to have that consistency, but not the same thing. New content all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then watch reviews and watch what works. Study your analytics and watch what works.
Yeah, and part of those metrics, right, are likes and stuff like that, and comments and shares and whatever. But
the likes, the comments are better, the engagement is better, the views are huge, and then it's the engagement.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So your homework today is to go post, make videos, post. What else did we give them today? Make sure you're hungry.
Get a gimbal. Get yourself a gimbal. Use that for walking through so it's smoother. You know, grab the tools. Get a drone. You know, use the tools. Spend a couple bucks.
Yeah. And right now you do have, I'm sure this would be step number 1. If you don't have a modern smartphone, get that, right? And that can do a whole lot for you, and then start upgrading and grabbing some tools like Dickie said. Absolutely. So is there anything that you would like to say in closing as we sign off here? I think we had a pretty good episode, a pretty good show. I think we chopped it up about some really good things on mindset. Hopefully gave them a couple good tools that they can use to implement in their business. If you have anything that you want to say in closing, please feel free. Platform.
I appreciate this opportunity, and I want to tell the agents out there that get the opportunity to be on here. Phil brings a lot of knowledge to this, and even in the conversations we've had off this camera, I've learned so much every time we've chopped it up. And I look forward to this opportunity. To people trying to build their business, try and surround yourself with top producers like this. Put yourself in the room with don't be afraid to do it. And to all the realtors out there that are top producers, start letting people do that. Let's make this industry better. Let's make it stronger. Let's create more top producers so that we can have better deals and bring more integrity to what we're doing.
Definitely. Well said. And I mean, you pretty much summed that up. I think when it comes down to it, we have a mutual respect for one another. I always look forward to, talking with you and chopping it up. I think that, in this business and any business, you always gotta represent. Like, that's our thing for BeastLIFE Brand. You gotta live powerful and you gotta represent. And, it's your industry, and this industry is a special industry. We just talked a little bit about it. So you got to give back to it. And that's what we're doing right here. Me and Dickie, we're giving back to the industry, the real estate industry. We're giving back to agents. And with that, I guess we're going to sign off on a giver's note, because it is truly better to give than it is to receive when you do it with a grateful heart, and you do it with a heart that is pure intentions, right? So, brother, I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody who's watching, thank you so much. I'm just going to say on that note, peace out and God bless. And we will see you on the next episode of Rockstar Partnership. Take care.
Thanks, brother.
You got it, man. Have a good night.